Hey friends out there, Rob here. Today I want to talk to you about the Comica BoomXU Quad. This is a 4-channel transmitter receiver with lots of really cool features, focusing on the ultra-high frequency bandwidth, so it's not 2.4 gigahertz, something that is pretty commiserate with everything we will use today, just like the Boom XD. Interesting little device. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. Today the test rig is going to be how I think most people would use it. Although I do have XLR inputs on this camera, I don't have the ability to do 4-channel on this particular camera. So if I wanted to record in 4 channels, I would need to record using, well, an external recorder to get each channel individually. All right, now we're over here. Let's take a walk around real quick. We've got our BoomXU quad right here, plus our Zoom H6 to be able to record 4 direct inputs. Now, I'm going to share with you how I'm getting those 4 inputs, but I'd like to draw your attention right now. Currently, only channel A is transmitting. You're hearing the sound that's coming across channel A, which I'm wearing is a standard mic that came with it and the lavalier. Now we've gone ahead and set our gain, but we've got channel A, B, C, and D, and they are indicated as on or off whether or not that blue light is lit up right there. At the top, we've got 3 outputs. We've got an AB output, a CD output. Both of those have the capability to do a full mix, so each one of those can output to a full mix, as well as we have our headphone output so that we can monitor. The special feature of the BoomXU quad is that it will give you 4 independent channels of sound out. Now it does this through the use of 2 different connectors. In this instance, I'm using an 1/8 inch to XLR output. So my A and my B channel are going from here over to the Zoom. And as we talk about that, let's turn on the B channel. I'm going to hold the button until it lights up blue. We've now lit up blue, and you can see that the B channel is on. You can also see that the B channel is represented as I turn the B channel up. Now you can see the B channel over here is represented on channel 2 on my Zoom H6. Now that takes care of the XLR outputs, but I don't have another XLR to 1/8 inch headphone or microphone jack. So what I'm actually using is just a simple 1/8 inch jack extender. So both of these have the male connection on either end, and I have plugged it into the top mount of my Zoom H6. Now I'm going to take the top of this off so you can see what I'm talking about a little easier. My Zoom H6 at the top mount happens to have an input for a 1/8 inch microphone jack. And by placing that on top, I get access to my right microphones. Now, I've gone ahead and turned my left and right microphones on, but now I have to actually turn on the left and right microphones here. In this case, that's going to be channels C and D. So I hold the buttons down until they light up blue. They're now both lit up blue. You can verify that they're on because my C and D channels are on. You can verify that C and D are working as they're working down here. So I've got A, B, C, and D are all working appropriately. And now if I look over here to my left and right channel monitor, which is this one right here, my XY channel, you will see that I've actually got all of that turned up. So we're going to go ahead and add that some strength to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you can see that once they're connected to me so that you can hear them properly, all of them are being sent out. Now, okay, for this setup, I've demonstrated that we've got 4 channels that are going from our Comica BoomXU quad into a handy recorder, the H6, so that you can record 4 independent channels. Now this is great. Since I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and turn my additional channels down so that I don't have them messing up with my mix. Okay? But we'll continue to allow them to monitor over here as we talk about different settings. This right here is the strength of the BoomXU quad. It allows you to record 4 separate channels. Now, all right, let's actually talk about this little microphone right here. As you can see, we've got several buttons on the front, and we have this pop-down antenna. Now this is important because Comica expects that you use this with the antenna exposed, right there. So at the top we actually have a microphone, and we have a mic in with a little locking lever. On the back we've got a clip. On the side we have an infrared port for pairing, which is pretty interesting. We have a battery charge port right here, which is USB-C, and we have a reset button. Really nice. Back to the front, when looking at the front, you're going to notice that we've got a couple of lights, and we have a couple of additional functions. If we press and hold this little light right here long enough, we will actually see this turn red. That will mute this microphone on the talent. Press and hold again, and the microphone will turn back on. You'll notice that it flashes when it transmits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a button up top. This is our pad. It's going to allow us to do a low-pass filter. We've pressed that. We've got a different color light up top. It's kind of a purple color light to let us know that that's engaged. Press it again to turn it off. Press and hold to turn the entire transmitter off. We have some menu functions right here. By pressing set, we activate the menu. With the menu activated, we can go into our channel selection, auto scan, synchronization, volume, mix, power levels, language, and then version for firmware update. Let's go into mix. I don't want to change mix, but we're going to go ahead and select mix by choosing our set button. Currently it says none. Now, we can also set mix to all. This is how we send all of the mix out through each of the output jacks from the top. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to select none. We can go back very easily by pressing our power button, acts as the back button. When we come down here to the power setting, we select our set button to go in, and we can choose to set the power on to A, B, C, or D. This is going to allow us to manually turn the channel on or off. Let's take channel B. We'll select B, power on, off, and now as you can see, we can manually turn B off. Although B is still on here, we have turned the channel off on the receiving unit. We can continue on up to volume. This is exactly what you would expect. We can attenuate our volume, and we'll do so here by ducting our volume down. This is changing your gain settings, and you'll notice that my voice got lower. You'll notice my voice got quite a bit lower as I went down to 1 because it's actually turning the gain all the way down. This is how you'll set all of your gain to unity depending on the devices that you're using. I find that between 10 and 12 works well, and even with my Panasonic, this 12 works well right here. You can do that for each channel, and the nice part is you can do it while we're recording. Sync is where you would sync the individual units using the infrared ports on the units. We've got an infrared port right here at the top of the unit, which sends a signal out. We've got a receiving infrared unit on the microphones, which will receive. Placing them very closely like this and synchronizing them will allow them to talk, make sure that they get a proper sync. Moving on along, we have auto scan. Auto scan is going to automatically synchronize each one of the units by channel, by unit, to an open channel that's going to work within the frequency range. We can select it and notice that it has saved each channel as it has already scanned. This is a great way to look and see if there's any kind of interference on the network, and it will find the best channels and assign them. You can scan all, yes or no. And of course channel, if you'd like to manually set your channels, you can do that as well. There's no select all for this because it's a manual setting. So as you see, we've gone through all of the different settings right there. Very interesting device, working nicely. Okay, we're back from the walk around. I hope that that nice little menu dive and everything helped you out. Before we continue any further, if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit those Amazon links down below to help out quite a bit. Now, let's talk about who this unit is for. First of all, it's a budget unit. It comes in around $389, $379, something like that, for 4-channel audio transmission with all the features that you've seen. It's a little bit larger than what you might expect, but yeah, that makes sense considering it's UHF technology, and it doesn't work off of the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum. So it does have a different requirement as far as size and features. That's one of the reasons that we're using the antennas right here. And the antennas are required for best use. You're going to want to go ahead and open them up and unload them. It's just the way that it is. Even as such, it's not that big of a difference between other systems that cost twice as much. In fact, you get this entire system right here, the XSWD, for the exact same price as this entire system here, and you only get 1 channel. Now, the difference is that the XSWD has some additional technology that makes it activate or work more reliably. That's what they say. I have found the XSWD system to be very reliable. My limited testing with this over 2 weeks has shown that it's been pretty reliable as well. I haven't really had any issues with audio and such. But before we talk about distances and things like that, let's continue to talk about why someone would want this. This is perfect for me. I'm often required to mic different sources multiple ways, and having 4 signals or 4 channels is very important. One of the reasons I like to use camcorders is because generally I have 2 XLR inputs, and then I can run those 2 XLR inputs as I need for different devices, and it works very well. I prefer the XLR standard, but using a breakout cable from 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch to XLR isn't a problem. And if I wanted to record more than 2 channels internally, I would definitely need to bring my additional field recorder as well. That's where the H6 would come in. So having 4 channels doesn't change my regular operation. In events when I need to operate with 4 channels, I would always bring this, so it is an additional piece of gear. But if you didn't want to bring that, didn't need to, or didn't have it, you could still send both left and right channels, or A, B, and C, D, into 2 separate channels on your XLR microphone adapter, or straight in through a stereo connector like we're showing here, into your camcorder or into your mirrorless camera, and get 2 channels each as a mix onto 2 separate channels in your camera. That's better than nothing, but really if you're going to want to do post-production editing, you're going to want your channels on separate channels coming out here, which is why I would suggest something like the Zoom H6. Once we get that out of the way, we recognize that miking 4 things. I've got bride, groom, singer, and an instrumentalist, or a violinist or something like that. I've got 4 separate channels that I can use. And you might say to yourself, like, Rob, how are you going to mic them? Well, this is how. I don't have the mic stand with me right now, but I can go ahead and just plug this guy straight in. Boom. So now I have used this on a mic stand to create a wireless microphone, and it's working just fine. Okay, so it's right in there. So now we've got a wireless microphone. So I can very easily adapt whatever situation I need these microphones to fit. If for some reason I didn't have the ability to use a wireless microphone, then fear not, because they've got a microphone built in. I could very easily put this on the podium and have it picking up the sound. What about audio for dialogue on a script or a movie or a TV show or something like that? Well, if it's really high budget, then you should purchase something else. But that's because of the redundancies in the audio fidelity, not necessarily because of the different use implementations. This actually has quite a few features that you would find on much more expensive devices. However, if you're a small channel or if you're a small production company, this is excellent for interviews, especially when you've got 4 people sitting at a table. You don't need the Rodecaster Pro. You just need to send everything in and then mix it out through here, or use your 2-channel audio splitter, and then you're good to go. I would always suggest using something like the Zoom because you're going to have the ability to adjust your audio levels as needed, and you're going to have the ability to mute them much easier than menu diving here. But if you had to, you could do it right here, and it's very little work, not much problem at all. Putting that into perspective, thinking about budgets, at $400 to include an additional cable so that you can get the breakout that you need for the 4 channels is really not bad at all. It's actually pretty decent. Actually, I kind of like this a lot. Now, I use the Comica BoomX-D often, right? And I don't usually, they're fine. I like them. Out of the 2, my preference is the Sennheiser XSWD. However, with the advent of this, with this coming along, I could actually see, because my use case requires so many additional microphones, I just like having it all running through one system. I like that. It seems like it could become my favorite. However, I'm going to save that decision for later because I have not used it enough to know. All I can tell you is that I'm excited about it initially because it really lowers the workload that you're going to have. It tightens up a lot of devices. It gives you additional inputs. And it just makes the entire process more streamlined. And for me, lots of times with my team out and about, that's what we need. So, should you check it out? Yes, you should absolutely check it out and not give it an initial pass if you're looking anywhere else. And speaking of that, I read some reviews while I was researching for this project that said that they didn't understand why you would have a stereo mix that comes out of all channels into one source. Yeah, I can. I can exactly. Yeah, because I do it quite often, especially for podcasts and things like that, or especially for run and gun. Having all 4 channels mixed into one, especially when you're in an area that you don't expect a lot of planes or something going on, like what you may have been hearing today. Well, yeah, then no problem. It just makes your workflow that much easier. Of course, you could do the same by recording all and then mixing out to a single sum, but if you just want to go as light as possible, that's why you do it. And we've shown here today that you can get 4 channels out if you want. So, hey, guys, I'm Rob. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit those Amazon links down below. Support the channel, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye for now.